But again, there's processes on a number of platforms like GoDaddy which allow you to pass on your content prior to death. So this brings us on to Dead Social. So I launched Dead Social a couple of years ago, and it was largely inspired by Bob Monkhouse. I lost my father at an early age, so that may have had a factor. So I've always known, for example, which songs I want to have played at my funeral. But this really was the catalyst that made me start and think about creating something in this space.
Just when you thought it was safe to turn on your TV again, here I am. Gosh, 4 years already. Doesn't time fly? I wanted to die like my father, quietly in his sleep, not screaming and terrified like his passengers. The man's accident-prone. I can still hear the screams. What killed me kills 1 man per hour in Britain. That's even more than my wife's cooking. Let's face it, as a comedian, I died many deaths. Prostate cancer, I don't recommend. I'd have paid good money to stay out of here. What's it worth to you?
So this video by Bob Monkhouse was released as a TV advert following his death, and he uses the medium of TV and his own death to amplify a message. His message is, guys, if you're of a certain age, get yourself tested for prostate cancer because it's too late for me. Using the fact that he's passed away and using his influence, he's able to, from beyond the grave, pass down some words of wisdom. And I thought, if Bob can do this as a celebrity using the medium of TV, why can't we all have a similar impact using social media? So the way in which Dead Social works is our users create an account and then they create a first message. And their first message, as with all messages, can consist of videos, text, and images. Once they've created a message, they then assign their digital executor. So my digital executors are my 2 brothers, one of them's there. When they feel the time is right.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 2-minute silence will be held at 11 a.m. to honour those who have died in conflict. We ask everybody to join us in the 2-minute silence, which will begin now. 2-minute silence is now over. Thank you.
So, after creating your first message, our users are then able to create a series of scheduled messages for future dates. Once that occurs, they're able to assign their digital executor. So my digital executor or executors are my 2 brothers. When I die and they feel the time is right to do so, they're able to administrate my goodbye messages on my behalf. So they're unable to view the messages, they're unable to edit the messages, but what they are able to do is to click a button and my final goodbyes are sent out. They're sent out, if I wish, onto my Dead Social account, but also directly to Facebook and Twitter. So it means that my last tweet isn't going to be about drinking a lovely coffee or my Facebook timeline, ending abruptly when my life does. But instead, I'm able to bring it to a managed ending in my own way and in my own time. We also provide a number of different tutorials for people to understand what they can and can't do in relation to different platforms. And we also look to use technology in innovative ways to make the end-of-life process and to make grieving online easier for those who are left behind. So I'm just going to flick through a couple of tutorial examples. So until very, very recently, for example, my mother wasn't on Facebook. So I followed this how to download your Facebook data and pass it on to your next of kin tutorial. So that meant that my mum was able to receive a huge number of photos of me living in London and videos that she otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to view and to consume. So how to download a copy of your Facebook data and pass it on to your next of kin, and it's a step-by-step process, including how to delete the messages in case you don't want your next of kin to read your messages. This is this is a very, very simple use of technology, but very, very powerful. So using an iTunes account to decide which songs should be played at a funeral. So going back to me and my own example, once again, if I was to die, my girlfriend and my mother wouldn't really know which songs resonated with me whilst I was alive. But by simply opening my iTunes account and clicking on the 25 most played filter, they're able to view the 25 most played songs. And there's a playlist, although this is a sample, there's a playlist of a number of plays down the side. So hopefully, in this very kind of traumatic time and, something that for some people would mean a lot, for others it doesn't mean much, but for a lot of people it's hugely emotive. They're able to follow these kind of very simple technology guides to make certain processes easier. We've also provided a 5 steps to sort out your digital legacy today guide, which you can download for free and print it out as many times as you like for free. It's available in English and Welsh. And again, there's 5 very simple steps for the general public to follow to help address and to think about their digital legacy. We've also provided some healthcare kind of training and support material to date. But I'm very, very happy to announce that in the early hours 2 nights ago, for Hospice UK's conference, we launched, or in time for Hospice UK's conference, we launched the Digital Legacy Association. So whereas Dead Social provides support for the general public, we're now going to be providing support for healthcare professionals and those delivering care in areas that relate to digital end-of-life planning and digital legacy. We've found that healthcare professionals understand that there is a value associated with people's Facebook accounts and with all of the different online tools and platforms that are available. But for many, understanding and being able to confidently pass on information about these platforms is, it's not always there. It's not always there because many healthcare professionals don't use Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, etc., and therefore they're unaware of their value and they're unaware of how you can plan for end of life on these services. So we've created a framework. So it's the first version of the framework. It's available to download from deadsocial.org. It's free to download. It's a PDF download. And we have provided 6 very simple steps that you may want to follow when it comes to having a conversation about somebody's digital assets or their Facebook account, etc. And then in the back of the framework, there's a breakdown of the main platforms, so let's say Facebook, Twitter, etc., and which assets are saved on each. As and when each platform updates their terms of service or their end of life policy, we update it on the website and we will update the framework accordingly. So it will always remain up to date and available for healthcare professionals to download. Okay. And this is just some screenshots of the framework. We will also be providing a nationwide training program in areas relating to digital end-of-life planning and digital legacy management that we're developing with St. Christopher's Hospice. Just to bring everything to a close, we also run an annual conference called the Digital Legacy Conference. Last year we held it at University College London Partners. Again, it's free to attend, and we explore and celebrate the good things that healthcare professionals and those providing end-of-life care are doing within this sector. So I'm going to finish on 10 very simple steps that you can follow, and which will allow you to think about digital end-of-life in today's context. So the first thing you may want to do is Google your name. Google your name and see what people are saying about you. You may want to use the advanced filter. So for example, if your name's John Smith, there's probably millions of John Smiths. If you use the advanced filter, you're able to filter out, you can search for all the posts about John Smith just in the UK or just in Hertfordshire. So that's a very, very handy tool. You may want to download the free framework from digitallegacyassociation.org, read it, and if you've got any comments or queries, please let me know and we'll include your feedback. It's the first version, and we see it as very much an evolving document that will evolve as the space does. You may want to have a look at our resources on Dead Social that are specifically for the healthcare profession, so that are specifically for the general public, some of which we've highlighted earlier. You may want to write a will, if you haven't already, I'm sure many of you have, and append a social media will to it. So it may sound silly, but if you make plans for and decide what you want to happen to all of your different accounts, whether it's your Facebook account, Twitter account, etc., and just articulate it somewhere, then someone will know what to do when the time comes. You may want to explore different ways to pass on your passwords. There isn't a one-size-fits-all way to do this, and it depends on which platforms you use, etc. But that is an area that hopefully it will receive a lot of investment and development over the next few years, because passing on your passwords is a huge, huge issue at the moment. You may want to download and back up your photos that are saved on your different social media accounts, and perhaps put it on an external hard drive and pass it on to your next of kin, or print them out and pass them on to your friends and family. You may want to create some goodbye videos, and you may want to ensure that your website or blog is catered for when something eventually happens to you. Thanks a lot.